Hey, you wonderful, lovely heathens. It's I, Thomas Johnson.
And I'm Jeff Key.
And we're
the Godless Left.
And today, we're talking about, the foundation of our government. The foundation of our American culture. The Constitution. More importantly, whether it definitely says we are a Christian nation or not. And quite frankly, we're not.
It doesn't.
No. Well, I'll let you start the lead with this one.
Okay. I have been looking over at a guy named Weems, Parson Weems. He created the story of the cherry tree. For those who need a refresher, that was the story of George Washington being caught chopping down the cherry tree and saying that he chopped down the cherry tree because he cannot tell a lie. That story was a lie.
Straight up bullshit is what it is.
And he also came up with the story of George Washington praying at Valley Forge, which a lot of Christian conservatives will bring up to try to argue that we are a Christian nation.
And quite frankly, that's a crock of shit. Because, quite frankly, why would we want one particular religion to have control over our nation when our ancestors left a country, a nation, overrun by such kind of setup? And quite frankly, they're fucking miserable. No one had any real rights. The church had the rights. The crown had the rights.
Mm-hmm.
Do the people have rights?
No.
Fuck no! They were just a means to an end for the authority.
Yep.
So they packed up their shit and came over to America, and which was native country until they came over and fucked that up. That's a tell of a tape for another time, but anyway.
But in 1801, some Baptists from a place called Danbury, Connecticut, the Danbury Baptist, wrote a letter on October 7th, 1801, to Thomas Jefferson, who was our third president at that time. And they were concerned about the fact that in Connecticut, they wanted to make Congregationalism the state-established religion. And Thomas Jefferson said, and I actually have the entire thing, so I'm just going to read that for a minute.
Just bear with us here, people. Drum roll.
Believing with you that religion is a matter, this is Thomas Jefferson, which lies solely between man and his God, that he owes account to none other for his faith or his worship, that the legislative powers of the government reach actions only, and not opinions. I contemplate with sovereign reverence that act of the whole American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That is the First Amendment to the Constitution, also known as the Establishment Clause.
Thus, building a wall of separation between church and state. Adhering to the expression of the supreme will of the nation in behalf of the rights and the conscience, I shall see with sincere satisfaction the progress of those sentiments which tend to restore man to all his natural rights, convinced he has no natural right in opposition to his social duties.
So, the letter that Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to talk about and then discredit was written by our third president of the United States concerning the First Amendment of the Constitution.
Which he simply broke down in detail. He dumbed it down for everyone. It is meant to be a separation of church and state.
That's where we get the wall from, folks. Right there.
So, for those of you who say it doesn't say nothing about separation church and state, well, it does if you fucking know your wording and know these big words, which I know it's very hard for those Christian conservatives and those Christian nationalists.
Or just know your history as much as you claim to.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But kind of coincidentally, when it comes to factual history, they draw a blank. Mm-hmm. They're like deer in headlights. It's like they go fucking complete Gomer Pyle on everyone. It's like, oh golly, so we'll get your thumb out your ass, you know. But I'm sure we have a lot more notes and keys and whatnot. Now, I've been taking notes too, people. And I'm sure, go ahead, go with yours.
Okay. I have been listening to a audiobook by a guy named Andrew L. Seidel. I hope I'm saying that right. Called The Founding Myth, which is all about the myth that we are a Christian nation, that our Constitution was inspired by the Bible, that our founding fathers, as we call them, were Christians. They were not. They were primarily deist. Deist was fairly close to atheistic. Deists believed that, yeah, there might have been a God, but that God basically created a clockwork, as you call it, universe, set a couple of laws in motion, and that was it.
It's all on you, motherfuckers. You know, pay it how you want it. See, here's the interesting notes I came up with too. See, I mean, things didn't really get batshit crazy with this whole Christian nationalism and evangelicals and all that stuff till about the late 50s going into the 60s. I mean, we had the big red scare back in the 50s, so that's when everyone started putting "In God We Trust" on our currency. That's why we put God in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the Republic which is in one nation under God. That was all more of a kind of rally the troops, so to speak.
I could tell you the dates those were made.
Go for it.
And the change to the Pledge of Allegiance was made on June 14th, 1954. The change in our money system, putting "In God We Trust" on our coins and stuff, that wasn't done until 1957. This all occurred within the same decade, the 1950s, the same time we happened to be in a Cold War with
Cuban
Russian
crisis, the whole
with godless Russian communists.
Those heathens, because they're godless. So, but
it was propaganda, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the whole 10 Commandments at state capitals. Let me tell you something about that. That was all a publicity bit for a movie came out back at the same time called The 10 Commandments, where Charlton Heston, the big gun-toting lover of the NRA.
Mm-hmm.
So, it wasn't about historical facts. It wasn't about none of that shit. It was for a publicity stunt for a movie. That's it. No historical significance other than the fact that a rich white bigot who loves dumping money into the NRA, who loves dumping more money into more gun-toting white bigots for all their propaganda, whatever.
Yep.
That is why you see all the 10 Commandments state capitals, which also goes back towards the whole separation of church and state.
Actually, you want to delve into separation of church and state in the Ten Commandments. There's a commandment saying, "Thou shalt not make any graven images."
But yet they're making graven images of the Ten Commandments.
Sure. There's also, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Within the Ten Commandments themselves, there are laws about how we should worship God, what days we should worship God, how we should address God. And our nation was founded on separation of church and state. So,
and the freedom for everyone to practice whatever religion they wish.
Exactly.
So, I'm sorry, but you could pack up your commandments, go back up on your mountaintop, and fiddle about with your patrons, whatever. I mean, how I see is this, okay? To continue on, keep things flowing. Also, the evangelical movement started to get more on the, on the defensive, because by the 60s, they start taking prayer Bibles out of schools. The growing fluctuation of immigrants coming into the country, and towards the end of the 60s, early 70s, the whole abortion law started to come into effect. So they're feeling like that, their whole scene, of victimhood started by then. They feel like they're being victimized. Their rights, their beliefs, and stuff are being challenged and attacked because the culture around them's changing. Everything's not, Ozzy and Harriet anymore. Everyone's actually starting to become more free thinking and start kind of questioning things on that. So they're getting on
equality to those who have known privilege feels like oppression.
Exactly.
And I thought I'd bring up a little quote from Madison here.
Go for it, my friend. Preach, brother, preach.
This is James Madison. Moreover, Madison himself referred more than once to the concept of a wall of separation. In an 1819 letter, he wrote that the number, the industry, and the morality of the priesthood and the devotion of the people have been manifestly increased by the total separation of church and state.
So, now we're progressing on towards the whole late 70s, early 80s. We're going into the Reagan era, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is when the Christian nationalism started to kind of really form into play, because they're really starting to take up arms. And mind you, these people only take up 20% of our nation's population, but yet they're the most vocal and yet most violent. For example, the January 6th incident.
Yeah.
You had these people there. Greg Locke was there stirring up the freaking hornet's nest.
Greg Locke is a preacher, I believe, out of Texas.
Nope. Kentucky. Tennessee. Sorry. Tennessee.
Okay. Who said that he had witches in his congregation. Now, a good way to control people is to plant the idea that there is an enemy amongst the crowd. And therefore, if that leader of that congregation is ever challenged, you just say that that person's a witch.
Which is a little bit like old school, like Dark Ages, old school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I mean,
if we have witches, let's start the burnings, right?
But the thing is this, okay? These people are going around saying that their rights are being assaulted. Mm-hmm. Their privileges. The thing about it is, the reason why they say that is because they felt, this is how they think, this is what they believe, that the country is founded by Christians. And so it should be, so they have the right and the privilege to have that authority over everything and everyone. So automatically they demand authority over everyone else and their beliefs and whatever. They should be number one.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, people like this are affecting everyone all around. Like, for example, there was a transgender individual that I read up on who was going to, it was in Massachusetts, I believe. He was going for medical procedures, okay, for medical help. He's a full-grown adult, or she's a full-grown adult, and his doctors suggested that they need to go to get certain kind of therapy done, or physical therapy done, at this hospital. They turned around and denied him access, or her access, to proper health care. Why? Because they did not agree to their lifestyle, their life choices, because for their religious beliefs and their religious standing, because it is a church-operated hospital, and since their views don't match with the hospital's views, they got an email from the priest that oversees things at that hospital denying that person of their rights for medical care. Stuff like this is happening. Just recently, last night, I told you about this recently.
Yeah.
We had a local event happen at a pastry shop here in Tulsa. It's a donut shop. They've been getting vandalized, and and this is a mom and pop shop. These people are just trying to run a business, provide goods for the public. Local drag queens that I know dressed up in their characters to serve donuts to the public. They make the donuts there and serve them to help raise money to repair the shop. They made the money and then some, which was awesome, fine. Once they closed up for the night, certain individuals went to their donut shop, busted out the windows, busted out the doors, and stole the cash register and all kinds of other shit that's in there, taking away everything that they collected to fix that shop. And another incident that happened a few months back at the Equality Center, our Pride Center here in Tulsa. They have street signs done up by the city, says Pride Street. Okay, street sign in rainbow says that. There was incidents of people going up there with power saws, cutting them off the poles, then spraying graffiti on the buildings nearby. Threatening, very offensive wording and stuff like that. These are the type of things that these individuals would be doing because they feel threatened. They feel oppressed. So what do? They go oppress others that go against their point of views.
Yep.
Rather than actually coexisting and commingling. So, and another thing, I don't mean to continue on like this and stuff, but there's a big division amongst the Christians right now. Even though there's 20% of these nutcases out there in this country, it's also dividing up the Christian community. A lot of people are leaving these congregations to find more, sounding of mind people and congregations are not batshit crazy. And some are just leaving the church altogether. The number of Christians in the country is dropping, and partly because of these nutcases.
But that's precisely why they're speaking up as much as they are. Because they're losing numbers, which means they're losing power. So they have to
infiltrate.
Yeah.
So they have to weasel their way into the schools. They have to weasel their way into the government.
They got to make sure that they can reach the next generation so that the next generation is more religious, so they maintain their power and grasp in American society.
Yes. But in turn, it's almost starting to look like we're going into like what that movie Red State's going to be like.
You saw it, I didn't.
Oh. Basically, Red State is a movie done by Kevin Smith. Jay and Silent Bob, Snoochie Boochies, okay? About these Christian nationalists, right-wing nutcases have this little church compound, and they're doing the whole Westboro Baptist type protesting. God hates gays, all that stuff. But secretly, they're abducting people out of the communities that are gay, or they feel like they're might as well be just as bad, and they're murdering them, like in some cult fashion. Okay,
which is what Greg Locke wants to do. It is what Steven Anderson wants to do. It is what quite a few fundamentalists, evangelicals, would like to do. Except they like to hide behind the idea that we're not terrorists, we're not advocating for violence, we want the government to do it for us, which is known as genocide. They're advocating for fucking genocide.
Even during public school board meetings in Texas, pastors go up in there, and you can look it up on YouTube, advocating that they need to just drag them out and murder them. Because it says in the Bible. It says in the Bible that we need to slaughter all the gays. Kill them all. So I was like, that's a bit illegal. But,
I mean, it also says you shouldn't get tattoos. That you shouldn't wear fabric that has more than 2 pieces of fabric. You shouldn't wear mixed fabrics. You shouldn't eat shrimp. I love shrimp. I mean, I don't know if he does, but I love shrimp. So you shouldn't eat shrimp. You shouldn't wear clothing that is mixed fabrics. You shouldn't eat... I already said the thing about shrimp. You shouldn't get tattoos. There's some other things in the Old Testament,
but it's okay to sell your daughter to a rapist.
Exactly.
It's okay to fucking kill your baby.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even though they're saying we're pro-life, honestly, if you're pro-life, then you should worry about the ones that's living right now rather than what's inside someone else. Mind your own fucking business, honestly.
Here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, especially the Old Testament, it talks about how those who praise God or do good for God or whatever will be blessed for generations to come. Mm-hmm. But those who don't will be cursed for generations to come. It's the guilt of the father carried on to the children who have done nothing.
Yeah. So
that is not how we deal with crime in America. That is not how we deal with the justice system, to the extent that we can call it a justice system in America. That is not how our laws are established. But that's biblical.
And they're trying to establish that, it's all... The fact that, hey, even Thomas Jefferson was so fucking... guy tore up his own fucking Bible.
Yeah, he didn't tear it up. What he did was he took a razor blade to it. And he cut it up. And specifically what he cut up was all the parts of the New Testament that have supernatural, weird shit happening in it. All he kept in his Bible were the actual words of Jesus as recorded in the Bible.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost like he's looking at the Bible with a practical sense. With an open mind to realize, yeah, that never fucking happened. No. No, walked on water? Fucking A, no. No. Rose from the dead? That's bullshit. No. So, that's kind of like what it is. It's like, I can understand that. I can see that. I call bullshit on that. rep, you know.
And you can find that Bible
in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
And although, I mean, that should help strengthen the whole separation of church and state. You know, people might argue about it, but in a sense, I mean, the guys want to make sure that we did not have a corrupted government like they just left from. Right now, these same people, these Christian nationalists, these evangelical extremists, as I like to say, they're trying to heavily influence politics through their people of the church, or actually through financially supporting certain politicians or getting backings from it, from one way or the other.
I believe this time it was Warren Boebert instead of Marjorie Taylor Greene, I believe, who advocated for a religious test for those who want to run for office.
And Boebert should shut the fuck up. Because honestly, really, it's not all about them. No. And if any of them ever scrolled across this shit right now, hey, dipshits with the Bible. Here. Come here. Come here. Listen to me. Come here. No one gives a fuck. Okay? There's other people in this country that has different faiths. Didn't it say in the Constitution for us to be able to have the freedom to practice and believe in whatever we want?
Yes.
It's not what you want, it's what we want. And what we want is for you to shut the fuck up. Right? Right. Because you keep it up, I can tell you specifically where you can shove your cross.
And there's probably a couple of areas we could probably shove that thing. But,
little quick note. Reference, Exorcist. Food for thought.
But, the original founders of this government specifically said that they did not want a test of religious faith for people who are running for any kind of position within said government.
No. And the thing about it is, people, this has been collectively growing and growing and growing. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, when Reagan ran for office for president, he tapped into the evangelicals, okay? Because that gave them a shot in the arm. That gave them a voice up high to where they could be able to have some influence to a sense. Okay? Billy Graham has been an influencer to the president and other politicians since Truman up until his death.
Yeah.
Thankfully he's dead. But now his bastard son looks like the fucking, fuck. Guy looks like Frankenstein in a suit, okay? I swear to fucking, and he's going around spitting the same shit right now. And honestly, everyone's kissing Trump's ass, obviously, of course. Ooh, Cheeto dust. But anyway, they've been steadily on the rise with all this shit. You had Reagan tapping into that. Mm-hmm. Then you had Bush Sr. and Bush Jr. Then you have Trump.
Yeah, Bush Jr., who wanted to start a crusade against the Middle East.
All because of two things. Finish daddy's business and get some of that,
sticky, icky.
Yeah, that Arab oil.
Get some of that money. Some cash money.
Yeah, send in Dick Cheney, the enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it at? You know? But I digress. I mean, they've been slowly influencing politics for a long while now. More so after Reagan. And we're seeing it happen. Now we have a Supreme Court that's lined up with these same kind of these people with the same kind of mentality.
Yep.
6-3. 6 out of 9 Supreme Court justices are technically Christian nationalists. Nutsos with a Bible. Who do not give a shit about anyone but their own group. Their own core group. Mm-hmm. That's why Roe versus Wade was overturned. Not realizing or understand the severe blowback and the effects of what would happen once that happens. They don't care. They just care about their entitlement. Because they have their privilege. They have their rights. Because they've been violated. They don't know the word violated means. Every other religious group, organization, minority group, LGBTQ communities, Hispanic communities, Native American communities, all these groups, all these communities, whether it be faith-based or not, have been oppressed, have been violated, have been thrown under the bus by these kind of people.
You know, the type of language they use when discussing gay people, transgender people, and people of different genders, different sexualities, is very similar to the language they used to use when talking about white people marrying black people. It's the same type of, we're being religiously oppressed, and we have to follow God, and not allow this white guy to marry this black woman because that's against God.
Hey, yeah. I have no issues for some brown sugar. I don't give a shit. I mean, if you want to be plain Jane Vanilla, Mr. Mayonnaise himself, go right ahead. I mean, Mr. I'm all about God. I'll flip my cousin. You more. Go ahead. Go at it. Keep your family tree straight, for fuck's sakes. I'm a little bit diverse, just saying. But, for fuck's sakes, people.
It's just interesting to note the similarities, because the fact is that they have been talking the same shit regarding different things for a very long time now.
And let's not forget that their children are being indoctrinated in this shit. They want to talk about indoctrination. Yep. They want to talk about how, they're trying to turn kids gay. You don't turn kids gay. Either they are or they're not. Yeah. They don't come to terms with that until they're older. Mm-hmm. Okay? Believe me. Okay? So, what I'm saying is this. Okay? They are trying to raise up their children to be force-fed the same hateful rhetoric.
Yep.
There's even a video, a movie, a documentary. Jesus Camp. And you see these poor kids being forced to pray to God and Jesus and all that stuff, to the point where they're hyperventilating, crying in tears because they're being threatened, all kinds of nastiness as they're being brought to service and all that stuff in this little Bible camp. Gives you a good look at what kind of crap they put their kids through to get them indoctrinated in this crazy shit that's going on now.
Because here's the thing that I've realized when it comes to religion. And I realized this more when it came to the music than anything else, but this works on various different levels. If you can reach the emotions, you can stir up how people feel about things, you don't have to worry about up here. You just emotionally manipulate people, get them into a state. You can force feed them almost anything at that point.
And believe me, before I became a Satanist, I used to go to church all the fucking time. And I've seen this shit happen too much. Okay? They played off of me. That's why I was a Christian for so long. I was baptized. I was going to church every Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, going almost all through the fucking week. Despite being bullied by the same kids from church I went to school with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't like them. Because I went to a decently nice church where these people that ran the church had money. The people that went to church had money.
Yeah.
Did I have money? Fuck no. I started off going there because, hey, it's something to get me out of the house. Free drinks, free food. I was a fat kid at heart, even though I wasn't fat until now. And then they kind of played off of that. I was a loner. They played it off of that. It was like, well, we'll welcome you in. We're, hey, let's have a good, it was like,
here's something that they do in cults. In cults, they do a thing called love bombing. Love bombing is where they embrace you. And they welcome you as their best friend. And you're so awesome. And then they get you to come back and be part of the crowd because you really want that feeling. Mm-hmm. And then once they get you hooked on that feeling, they'll start taking away from you so that you'll do more of what they want you to do so you can get that feeling back from them. And that's how they put a hook in your mouth.
Come on, Jeff. Come on, let's go. Let's go to church. Heck, man. But, thankfully, I got smart and got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
I left the church by the time I was 17. I was going to church since I wanted to say, roughly around about 8 or 9. I was like going on 10. No, it was about 10. I was 10 years old. I was started going to church. And it was crazy too, is because they'll go to these neighborhoods in these church vans.
Yeah.
And they'll go knock on people's doors. Hey, we're from this church and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you go to this, kind of low income, middle class neighborhoods and stuff like that with a nice church van and all that stuff on a weekend or during a summer week. Parents like, cool, get the fuck out, And that's kind of how they kind of hook a lot of these kids. But now shit's getting fucking crazy. You have Trump stirring up the hornet's nests. Mm-hmm. You have these pastors getting all holier than thou, spitting off their hateful rhetoric. And the thing about it is this. The Christian nationalists, these 20% of people, have direct ties to white supremacist groups and militia groups.
Because for them, it's not just about Christianity. It's not even just about America or what they believe about America.
It's political for them.
It is. They only support certain types of people. If you're LGBT, nope. No. They don't give a fuck about you. In fact, they probably hate you.
They're wanting to kill you is what it is. And I mean, heck, I'm part of the community, for fuck's sakes.
Now, if you're black or Mexican or something other than white, they don't really like you that much either. Maybe a little more than the gays, but not by much.
Yeah.
And if you're a woman, you belong in the kitchen or pregnant. Primarily, the only people that they really support happen to look a lot like us. They're white guys.
Not so much like me.
The people that they support are white males. And, you can hide whether you're gay or bi. I mean, not saying you want to, not saying you should. But it's not obvious, usually. The people that they support are white, straight men. Everybody else, they don't really give a fuck about anybody else.
And they kind of look at women as second class or even just property. And they might say differently, but if they're basing shit off the Bible, if you read the Bible, that's how the Bible treats women in the book.
You know what? While I was listening to that audiobook of The Founding Myth, there's a certain part of that I found interesting.
What's that?
The guy brought up a different way of looking at Lot having sex with his daughters. Now, in the Bible, it talks about they basically ambushed him when he was drunk, and that's how it happened. But do we know the names of these daughters? Is that in there? You know, basically the idea is that maybe the same father who was going to offer his daughters up to be gang raped by the town might have raped his own daughters, and they just decided to tweak how that happened precisely.
Yeah. And everyone knows how they love to tweak and alter the Bible for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, there's books in the Bible that's been removed because it will contradict what they've been preaching and teaching for so many decades, for so many hundreds of years. Like the book of Enoch basically depicts Jesus as, when he was a teenager, as a fucking spoiled fucking prick. I mean, literally. Yeah. There's one part in there where he was roughhousing, playing with his friends, and he accidentally killed one of his friends. They're about to fucking put Jesus down, and so I was like, he's not dead. He brought his friend back. I was like, you okay? I'm fine. What you gonna do? You know? It was like, you fucking asshole. And I bet if I was Jesus' friend at that time, I was like, you are a fucking asshole. You fucking killed me. What the fuck? Fuck you. I'm going home, man. I'm just like, you're welcome. You know. Another thing about it, you know, in the Book of Enoch, it discusses about how angels came down and fornicated with the humans. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, and they had a little fun themselves. Oh, shit. Yep. And God put a kibosh on that. So now angels are unisex. They can't have fun. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know what? That's some bullshit. You know? Quite honestly, I mean, what do you think, you know, Lucifer had a big fucking ordeal with God to begin with? Oppression.
Yep.
Okay? He wanted the freedom and free will to do whatever. I mean, for Christ, you know, you look at the story of Adam and Eve. Okay? Yep. You could do whatever you want, but don't eat from the fruit of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you'll be knowledgeable like God. He wants them to be oppressed, submissive, a slave.
Yep.
You know, just be my little pet right here, your little enclosure here.
Especially the women.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the women.
Frolic all about. Why do you think Lilith rebelled too? She was forced to be the better half of Adam, but yet she refused to be submissive because she wasn't a creation. She was a deity herself. So she rebelled and she was banished.
Mm-hmm.
Because she would not submit to a lesser creature.
Yeah.
And what did God do? Not only did he banish her, but he also damned her children to be sacrificed daily. Murdering her children daily. So why do you think that the serpent came in there and told them to eat the fruit? They're trying to give Adam and Eve knowledge. Knowing that, hey, you need to eat this because you need to know what the fuck's going on. You know, and don't be a sheep, be a wolf.
After they were banished, there was a sword that was put up by that garden to keep them from ever coming back. And what was said in the Bible, it's there, was that that sword was put there because if humanity, ate from the tree of life, they would know both good and evil and have eternal life. And that would make them like gods. And that couldn't be allowed.
And again,
because God is a jealous God and he doesn't like competitors.
Again, being submissive. But that is tick for tack.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, we have these groups right now taking a full-blown attack on our Constitution, our way of life, and to everyone's civil liberties. And this is an issue that needs to be addressed, and everyone needs to be aware of what's going on. Because the LGBTQ community is at risk, the black community, the Muslim community, everyone is at risk from these people because they're being militant.
Yeah.
They're being flat out batshit crazy. We seen what they did at January 6th. They were in the House of Representatives, their little hall.
Yeah.
Once they broke in, they had a prayer circle. A prayer circle. Like, thank you, Lord, for blessing us on this day. Bless this holy ground. Da, da, da. It's like, what the fuck? Really? It's like, and then seeing videos of these people with Christian flags and Jesus Save flags as they're pummeling the police damn near to death. Jesus Save! It's like, what?
Now, to talk about our friend Greg Locke again.
Yes.
He has said that he's come out multiple times that he's against masks. He even said one time that he's against masks, and if they come to his church to try to enforce people wearing masks, they had their Second Amendment rights, and they would use them against the government.
Again, what did I say, right?
So here's a couple of things. Either A, he thinks God will protect him and and the fellow believers, the people at his tent church. It's a church in a tent. From getting the virus, but God won't protect them from the government arresting them, beating them, killing them. Either he believes that, or what he's actually doing is making a threat. Come down here, try to get us to wear a mask, and we'll put a bullet in your head.
Which that should have been reported. But the funny thing is this. Since then, Greg Locke has lost his tax benefits to the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
He's still on Facebook, though. So if you want to terrorize Greg Locke, please feel free to. I mean, send him some fucking horrendous shit. Just fuck with him. Because me personally, I get a wild hair every now and then where I get to be an asshole to people that deserve it. This guy deserves it. Troll his ass. Just do what the fuck ever. Heck, I done shit with, on Twitter about pictures of the Proud Boys. You know? I got pictures of gay leather daddies from a pride parade. I put the Proud Boys logo all over it. Make it look like they're proud. They're coming out. I'm a proud boy. Ooh, yeah, baby. Who's your daddy? You know, I thought it was kind of fucking funny myself. But, but also I even trolled our own Governor Stitt, or I say Governor Shit, where I took the head off of a Nazi in uniform and I put his head on it. It's like, we're not, there's more than one monster in Oklahoma.
Because as we've talked about in previous episodes, he has created the Anti-Transgender Bill. A couple of them, actually.
He attacked the state tribes,
Mm-hmm.
the 35 tribes that graciously gives out $15 to $20 billion a year to help with infrastructure and education, which the money disappears off to everywhere else but where it goes to.
Yeah, it probably disappears into his back pocket so he can buy some really cool game systems, from what I've heard.
Either that or dumping money off to his best buddy's schemes they put into certain cabinet offices and all that stuff in his little, group of friends. But let's not forget about other shit he did. Him attacking not just the LGBTQ community, attacking the Black Lives Matter or the Native American tribes, but he's also attacked the fucking education system itself by trying to rob it and trying to force people into buying into vouchers for private schools, which is very limited in space, and you have to meet certain requirements to get in. So not every parent is going to be able to get their kids in there, even though they're going to have to pay out their ass to apply.
Mm-hmm.
So really think that through. And then you have all the other senators and lackeys and Ryan Trump's little shriveled sack.
Mm-hmm.
So,
including Abbott in Texas.
Who's losing his ass in a fucking... Oh my god.
Beautiful.
That debate between him and Beto was fucking hilarious. He couldn't even explain himself with half the shit. You get a chance, people. Look at that beautiful debate. It is fucking horrendous to see Abbott, instead of just stuttering in his wheelchair, spin up the same fucking bullshit. Then another one... I'll post these two debates in our page, in our group on Facebook. Please do check them out. The Godless Left. You'll see our logos. You'll see our faces. You'll know who we are. Please reach out and touch us. Please reach out and touch us. But, with all this being said, you have an understanding of how things are being manipulated now with these extremists, these religious nutcases, as I like to say, this Christian nationalism, who think that they're entitled to this privilege of being in charge, entitled to the fact that the country should be strictly Christian when it's not really meant to be Christian. It's meant to be multicultural, multi-religious, just opened. It's very open, okay? You have groups like the Satanic Temple, and you have other groups out there who's trying to point that out. Even though people hear the word satanic, and they think, ooh, really horrible, they're horrible people. No, these people actually give a shit. People that are trying to point this out do give a shit. Doesn't matter if you're a Church of Satan or Satanic Temple. It doesn't matter. Satanists, modern day Satanists, really do care what goes on. Okay, they're not ignorant people. They're not brainwashed. They see shit for how it is and they call it out. They'll call bullshit when they see it. Yeah, that's why I'm calling bullshit when I see it. So that's why I'm here saying what I gotta say. I'm spitting my venom out. Because if they're going to spit, I'm going to spit. Someone's going to swallow sometime. But, the point is, there's people out there advocating for equality. Yeah. Doesn't matter who it is. There's even some Christian groups contesting these nut shits. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because they see them as nutcases like everyone else does.
And don't forget, we also have our friends over at the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
And so, with that having understanding, in a few weeks going into November, with the midterm elections coming up, you have a lot of these people backing up certain people, hoping to push their agenda through. For example, with our state, we have Mark Wayne Mullen, Senator Langley, Governor Stitt.
Governor Shit.
Shithead. The bastard child of Gomer Pyle, as I like to call him.
For shittier Oklahoma, if that's possible.
Oh, golly. I swear, Gomer Pyle must have really hate-fucked someone to spawn that kid. Like I said, Gomer Pyle really must have hate-fucked someone to spawn that kid. Okay? The point is, okay, these people all have shady backgrounds, criminal backgrounds, and they all, this is true because I did my research, I posted a video last night, they all try and attack on our rights, on our privileges, on our health benefits for their own personal gain. They're trying to use the whole religious, family, conservative deal as their means to manipulate those who are religious, who are family men, family women. They're trying to use that to get their vote. They're trying to manipulate it, just like you said with the whole churches. They kind of butter you up, and then once they get you in, they hook you. That's what they're doing now. They're mudslinging. They're saying all kinds of nasty, untrue things about the opposition. Why?
They're demons, apparently.
Oh, they're wicked, evil, demonic. And it's like, no.
Now, from what I understand, in that video on Facebook, you talked about Governor Stitt being banned from doing business in Georgia.
For life.
Forever!
Just like Donald Trump and his family in New York. And listen to this, okay? These religious nutbags look at Trump as like the second coming of the Messiah.
In fact, in our botched video from last week, we did talk about Trump, but I fucked up the audio. That's what happened, folks.
Sorry about that.
Now, what we originally did talk about in that video was there's a book written called Trump, President, Son of Man. And this is a book talking about how Trump is a different kind of Messiah than Jesus was. And how Trump will usher in the end of the world, basically. Which I could see that. I could see him putting an end to the fucking planet. I could see that. It might happen.
I can see the vision of that. All these fucking nutcases send in the fucking tanks of all these obese fucking MAGA people and their rascals with the fucking rifles. America! Can't get over the hill. It's a speed bump, goddammit.
As long as I don't have to get up and actually stand up out of their little electric wheelchairs.
It's not electric wheelchairs, it's the battle chariots. America! We're going to hit the Denny's after this. But the point is this. A lot of these politicians are trying to get elected or reelected. There's part of this Christian nationalism, evangelical right and stuff, are cramming, just chomping at the bit, hoping to get endorsed by Trump. And the problem is this. Who the fuck would, in their right mind, would want to vote for someone who's wanting to get endorsed by him when he's getting going through trials, possible incarceration over 9 different big trials, ranging from tax evasion,
don't you know,
rape,
Thomas? That's just him being oppressed by our government. Which means, of course, he was chosen by God. Because all the righteous must face oppression.
Oh, it's all bullshit yet, but we have him on video shuffling these, contraband documents that he stole from the White House. He's having all of his illegal, immigrants that he hired to work at Mar-a-Lago. It's like, hey, Tito, Jorge, take these boxes, load them up in the chopper. Chop. They got that on video.
That motherfucker was actually talking about selling that shit, too.
Oh, no, he's trying to extort the United States government to try and get shit that's even more damning. Listen to this. Like we tried to talk about in the last video, Donald J. Trump has a long history with working with the Russians, including embezzling money for the Russian mob, which that's been proven recently and has been shared through many news sources. You can look it up online. And through unrelated court cases, they learned from busing certain Russian mob members that they were buying properties from Trump just as a way to kind of claim their money. They're moving it from Russia to America to buy these properties as a way to kind of funnel it.
Which makes sense because we all know he has a ton of financial crimes associated with him.
Exactly. Especially with how he's handling shit with his own personal business, with inflating and deflating his own net worth, which is getting him in the hot seat. Which, that's two different things he's getting criminally investigated for. 3, he's getting criminally investigated for a rape, which they have physical evidence of. All they gotta do is match his DNA to that they collected.
He was actually accused of raping 22 women. And there was a good chance he either raped or beat his ex-wife, the one who just recently died. But that was dropped after she ended up with a bit of money. Funny how that works.
But then again, you also have the Mar-a-Lago deal, like I mentioned, which not only the second time they found out that he lied about having all them documents that they found down there in Mar-a-Lago, they learned that he also have several tons more documents shipped off to his office in New York and his private home in Jersey. And they have witnesses that works at Mar-a-Lago just working along with things and stating this did happen. And they have security camera footage showing Donald Trump directing traffic on, everything being moved out of there before the feds came and busted them with what they did find. Then you have the January 6th hearing.
Right.
Then you have the voting fraud deal in Georgia and other states. Why would anyone want to seek endorsement from this man? And if anyone's so happy that they got an endorsement from this man, knowing that he has all these criminal cases against him with physical proof, audio recordings, video recordings, eyewitnesses, the whole deal.
They would want an endorsement from him because despite all of these problems, he is still very popular within the Republican base. They don't care. They either don't believe it, they refuse to believe it, or it's okay because it's Trump.
And the thing about it is, too, here's another thing. Oh, man, I'm just getting a headache from all this shit. This is just... oh, my goodness.
What has been brought up is Hillary and her emails. And here's the thing. I'm not going to call bullshit on Hillary and her emails. I fully believe that was fucked up. I fully believe she should have been brought up on charges. I fully believe that the main reason she wasn't was she was the first lady running for president. We have an easily multifaceted, multi-level justice system within America. So, all the people that are outraged about Hillary and her emails, completely accurate to be. However, Trump, we know this for a fucking fact, stole those documents, kept them when he shouldn't have, and now is talking about selling them to Saudi Arabia, or even worse, because Saudi Arabia, however fucked up it is an ally of America. Trump has also talked about selling them to North Korea.
And Russia.
North Korea is not an ally of the United States.
They have
he actually did that. That would be straight up treason. 100%.
Thing about it is, his actions that led to January 6th was treason. Him stealing those documents was an act of treason. And him with the notion of trying to try to take advantage of the situation and try to use them to barter for certain privileges with the United States government while he's trying to do these deals is still an act of treason. You know?
Yeah.
Everything he did was an act of treason to begin with. But now, with the religious right there stewing, itching like a bad case of herpes after prom night.
You know what really leaves them itching?
What's that?
So many of them predicted before the election came in that Donald Trump was going to win. Not only did they predict that, but they said that God told them that.
And what's funny is the blowback after. Especially Kenneth Copeland when he had a fucking mental breakdown on national television. Ha ha ha! I was hoping he would fucking kill over. I'll be doing that laugh myself just from seeing his ass going. You know, it's like, yes, another one. You know. Quite frankly, these fucking dipshits that stirring the fucking pot, I think they need to be fucking, you know, taken off the air, stripped of their privileges. They're talking about, oh, what about our privileges? You guys had fucking privileges to begin with. What about us? What about everyone else? Everyone else you've been demonizing. Everyone else in different communities, different beliefs. Everyone else that you've been fucking with from day one. No, fuck you guys. Yep. You can take your cross and shove it up your ass. Because honestly, you've been terrorizing people for decades. The gay community, the minorities in our country, the people on the border, the fucking everything and everyone. Why? You feel that you're entitled because you think our country is founded by Christians. You're fucking retarded if you think so. You need to go back to school and learn proper fucking history. But oh wait, you guys fucked up the education system where now our kids are going to be fucked up because you want them to learn the same stupid shit that you do. Fuck you guys. You are entitled more so to get gang rape in a prison cell for all I fucking care, and I'll be more than happy to sit there and watch. It's like, ooh, how does that feel? Do you feel the love of Jesus right there? Do you feel one with God? Think of this as mission work, hon. This is mission work. Speaking of which, flip his ass over, do it missionary. I want to watch him cry. Made that pig squeal. Honestly, I'm so sick and fucking tired of these nut jobs trying to attack everyone because they feel entitled. And that's all it is. They're demonizing the gay community. The parents that take care of their trans kids who care about them. But no, that's child abuse. So they snatch their kids away from them, from families that took care of their fucking kids, and throw them in families that won't. Fuck them. You know what? They need their tax benefits stripped. They need to be fucking made an example of one way or the other. And I'm not saying doing stupid violent shit like they do. That's stooping down to their fucking level. Okay? So be smart about these things, okay? And especially, think about this. November, midterm elections. All of our rights are at stake. Everyone's. Women's rights.
Yep.
Right to an abortion. People's
They're
rights.
really wanting to overturn gay marriage right now.
Yes. So, people of every community that matters, you need to wake up.
They're also talking about banning contraception.
Again, we need to wake up. We need to get active. And when November comes, we need to vote these dumb fucks out and try and make sure they don't get back in whatsoever. They want to huff and puff. They want to fucking... Because you're fucking insane! You think Trump is Messiah? Trump don't give a shit about you. Don't give a shit about no one else but his own self. Maybe Ivanka, with his weird incestual fantasy he has of his own daughter, which is very fucking weird. Because he did say on national television, well, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd fuck her. You know, I was like, whoa, wait a fucking minute here, you know.
Yep.
He went from New York to Arkansas really fucking quick, okay? You know, his term of cornholing is not the fucking beanbag toss we're thinking of. But yet, from Stormy Daniels' perspective, I'm sure he couldn't even fit in a cornhole. Let alone the fucking... People, come on, man. Get with it. Look at the big picture here. Everyone's being attacked by these self-entitled dipshits with a Bible and a gun.
Yep.
The donut shop my friend's trying to help rebuild got vandalized worse than what it was because there were drag queens trying to raise money to build up a privately owned business to help them get the money to rebuild it. But soon after they closed up shop, they robbed the store of the money that they had. They busted up the whole fucking place. Why? Because they're drag queens trying to perform, crack jokes to everyone, hand them out food. Ooh, that's so evil. Ooh, Lord forbid. You know? That's so evil, sinful. That's demonic. That's the end of days, I tell you. You know, fuck that. Whew, I just feel the spirit of it, you know. Dear Lord Satan, you know. I am so sick of these dumb fucks going around doing this shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I know you got some stuff to say. I feel verklempt. I need to just... Okay.
So, in conclusion, we are not a Christian nation. Both James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, and the First Amendment of the Constitution clearly establish that we are not supposed to have any state-sponsored, nation-sponsored religion of any sort.
In fact, that we are meant to have freedom of practice of any and all religions from the get-go.
Exactly.
But the government should not have any influence of religion, and religion should not influence the government. Which means not in schools, not in the government,
not in our laws.
Yep. And not at all. So, you take them 10 commandments and shove it, you know. We care about everyone. We respect everyone's beliefs, don't get me wrong. It might not sound like it right now, but we do. We do have friends that are Christian.
Yep.
We have friends that are other beliefs. Wiccan, pagan, Muslim.
Yep.
We don't discriminate.
No.
But when you're being ignorant as fuck and being retarded with your bullshit and you're using it to hurt people, yeah, then we have a problem. Then we'll say something about it. And that's what we're doing.
Yep.
I'm Thomas Johnson.
I'm Jeff Key.
We're the Godless Left.
Peace the fuck out.
Sit and spin, motherfuckers.